Give me 17 minutes and I'll prove that you create your reality. Not convince you, not try to persuade you. I'll prove it. And I'm going to do it using your own life as evidence because you've been creating a reality this entire time, maybe without even knowing it. The patterns you keep experiencing, you created those. The same type of people showing up in your life, you created that. The circumstances that keep repeating, you created all of it. And once I show you how, once you see the proof in your own experience, you'll never look at your life the same way again. If you're new here, hello, I am your Muse Traci. On this channel, I help you take your power back so that you can live the life you've always imagined for yourself, and you can stop settling for the unconscious and unwanted patterns that keep showing up in your life because the world is just your mirror, showing you more of you, and all real change starts within. So let's prove it right now. Let's prove that you create your reality. So, I was on a recent coaching call with one of my clients, and he was reporting how the manifestation we spoke about on our last call had failed. And well, it wasn't the outcome that he wanted, basically. Just a short version of this scenario is he was trying to buy a large piece of a highly desirable property. And he had two dominant assumptions about this property and really about the outcome. The first assumption that he had is it's going to go fast. As soon as the owner puts it on the market, it's going to be snatched up. Like the same day was his belief. It's a very desirable piece of property. He had all these reasons that he thought this. So that was the first assumption. The second assumption was it's too expensive for me to buy. I want to buy it, but I don't really have the means to buy it. And, this was the assumption that we dominantly worked on in our previous phone call. So the first assumption was easy and effortless for him to assume, and it was supported by all physical evidence and logic. And, he barely could think anything else, right? It was just highly supported, a highly supported assumption. The second assumption, that he could easily afford the property and he was able to buy it and become the new owner of the property. This assumption, although he wanted to choose it, he struggled with choosing it because, well, not so much evidence was supporting it. And he didn't have the means to buy the property, he didn't have evidence of having the means to buy the property, and he didn't really believe that he was going to be able to. And not that you have to believe your assumptions, you don't, but he didn't have the core assumption that allowed him to choose any assumption he wanted, even when he didn't believe that assumption, right? More on this later, but he didn't really get around to, getting behind this assumption because, again, he didn't have that one core belief, that core assumption. So, what do you think happened when we got back on this next coaching call? And what do you think his report was on our call? Well, surprise, surprise, he reported the outcome was exactly what he was assuming. The property was snatched up really quickly, and it wasn't sold to him, unfortunately. It was bought by someone else who already had the funding and the means and blah, blah, blah. Now, this is no coincidence. This is him creating his reality. You see, your assumptions create your reality. Reality is your faithful mirror, showing you what you hold dominantly to be true. Not what you want, not what you hope, but what you dominantly believe to be true about yourself and about the world around you. I want you to think about a pattern perhaps in your life, something that keeps happening over and over. Maybe it's in relationships. You keep attracting the same type of person, different face, different name, but the same dynamic keeps playing out. Same issues, same ending. Or maybe it's money. No matter how much you make, you always end up in the same financial position. Different jobs can come and go, different incomes, even. I've seen this with people, their income goes up, but then so do the bills. So then the experience with money is still the same, right? It's the same struggle. Or maybe it's work, different companies, different roles, but you keep experiencing the same conflicts, the same feeling of being undervalued, and basically the same frustrations, even in different work environments and companies. Whatever your pattern is, I want you to notice it. Really take a moment, pause the video if you need to, and look at it. Now, here's the question that nobody asks. Why does this same pattern keep showing up in different forms? Most people just say, well, it's bad luck, or that's just how life is, or they blame other people, or they blame their circumstances, or they blame timing. But here's what's actually happening. The pattern is showing you more of you, your programming, your subconscious beliefs, your assumptions about yourself that you're compelled to think. You may not want to think them, like my client. He didn't want to think that he couldn't afford the property, but he was being compelled from this inner force, the programming, to think that, right? So, your assumptions about yourself and how the world works and who you are in the world. The pattern isn't random. It's a perfect reflection of what you believe to be true subconsciously. As Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will run your life and you will continue to call it fate. If you keep attracting emotionally unavailable partners, that's showing you perhaps you have a belief, and maybe the belief is, I'm not worthy of real dedicated love. Maybe it's people always leave. Maybe it's I have to earn and achieve someone's affection. If you keep struggling with money no matter how much you make, that's showing you a belief. And maybe the belief is money is hard to keep. Maybe it's, I'm not good enough to have more money. Maybe it's, there's never enough. If you keep experiencing the same work conflicts, that's showing you a belief. Maybe it's that I'm not respected. Maybe it's that I have to prove myself. Maybe it's that my value isn't truly seen. The pattern is the proof. You've been creating these experiences based on your beliefs, and the world has been faithfully reflecting those beliefs back to you over and over and over and over. Now, let's take a look at some CIA documents regarding the findings on their research on the topic of creating your reality. So I'm going to read this little blurb from them. And this blurb from the CIA is titled Patterning, right? The patterns that show up in your reality. This technique involves the use of consciousness to achieve desired objectives in the physical, emotional, or intellectual sphere. It involves concentration on the desired object while in a focused state and its projection into the universe, with the intention that the desired object is already a matter of established achievement, which is destined to be realized within the time frame specified. This particular methodology is based on the belief that the thought patterns generated by our consciousness in a state of expanded awareness create holograms, which represent the situation we desire to bring about, and in so doing, establish the basis for actual realization of that goal. Once the thought-generated hologram of that sought-after objective is established in the universe, it becomes an aspect of reality which interacts with the universal hologram to bring about the desired objective, which might not, under other circumstances, ever occur. In other words, the technique of patterning recognizes the fact that since consciousness is the source of all reality, our thoughts have the power to influence the development of reality in time-space. From the CIA. So let me show you how this actually works. Your subconscious mind holds beliefs. Most of them were formed when you were very young, before you ever knew that you had a choice about these beliefs, right? About what to believe in general. Things like I'm not enough might have been imprinted on you. I have to work hard for everything might have been directly told to you. Love is conditional might have been modeled to you. Money is scarce might have been present in your environment. I have to be only a certain way to be lovable might have also been, you might have been conditioned to believe that. Whatever beliefs got programmed in, they're likely still there unless you've done some conscious work around this. They're there. They don't go anywhere unless you do this conscious work to change them. So they're still there running, and they're creating your experience automatically. And here's the key. Your outer world is a mirror. It can only reflect what's in your inner world. If you believe you're not enough, the mirror shows you situations where you will feel not enough. If you believe you have to work hard for everything, the mirror shows you struggle and effort. If you believe love is conditional, the mirror shows you relationships where you have to earn that affection. The mirror doesn't create, it simply reflects. So when the same pattern keeps showing up, it's not because the world is against you. The opposite is true, actually. It's all set up for your benefit. It's so that you can come to know, love, and understand yourself. So it's not because the world is against you. It's because the world is responding to you. It's being a faithful mirror, reflecting back what you are broadcasting from your subconscious. And here's the proof that you're creating it. The patterns follow you. Different cities, different jobs, different countries. You can go to different countries, same pattern. Different people, but the same pattern. Why? Isn't it curious by now? Because you're the common denominator. You're carrying the same beliefs into every new situation, and those beliefs create the same experience. You didn't consciously choose these beliefs. You didn't deliberately create these patterns. But as long as you keep carrying around the same programming running in your subconscious, you keep creating these patterns unconsciously. And once you see this, once you really get that your outer world is just reflecting your inner world, everything starts to change. Because if you're creating the unwanted patterns unconsciously, that means you can create the wanted patterns consciously. And that is the work that I'm all about and the work that I do with my clients. Nothing is random. Nothing is just showing up in your reality. And I mean nothing. It's all precisely catering to you. So if it's in your reality, take ownership of that and take an unbiased, right? We're not judging ourselves for unconsciously creating something that we didn't want. If it's unwanted, you created it unconsciously. There's no judgment needed, and that's not helpful anyway. So you take this unbiased look within to understand what must be held within you in order to have created the unwanted patterns. So now let me just go a little bit further and show you the proof from the other direction. Think about something in your life that works really well, something that flows easily, something that just happens. It happens for you without effort. And the funny thing is that some people Money just flows like this, and then they struggle with love. And believe it or not, some people have it the other way around. Some people, love just happens like this, no problem, and they struggle with money. So you probably have an example of something in your life that just works. Maybe you're naturally good at making friends, or money flows to you in certain areas, or opportunities just seem to find you in specific situations. Whatever it is, just try to notice this effortless thing, how effortless it feels, how natural. And now here's why that works. You don't have negative programming around that subject. You believe it easily. You believe it's natural for you. You believe you're good enough for it, and you're good at it, and you're deserving of it. There's no contradiction in your programming, in your belief system. And because you believe it, the mirror reflects it effortlessly. Same mirror, same law, same process. The difference isn't the circumstances. The difference is your beliefs. Where you have empowering beliefs, you create empowering experiences. Where you have limiting beliefs, you create limiting experiences and limited experiences. The mirror doesn't judge, it doesn't pick and choose, it's just reflecting you. It just reflects. So the things that work in your life, that's proof you're creating. You're just creating from the positive programming instead of the negative programming. And if you can create effortlessly in one area based on your beliefs, you can create effortlessly in all areas by changing your beliefs. This is what I work with my clients to do. This is the outcome of doing this work. You create what you desire in big areas. I don't care what area it is. You change the programming, you can create in whatever area you want effortlessly, and you keep it permanently. So that's the proof you've already been doing it. You've always been doing it. You don't have to learn a new skill here. You don't have to learn to do it, and you don't actually have to learn how to do it better. You're so brilliant at creating your reality that you don't even realize that you're doing it. Most don't. Maybe if you're watching this, you do by now. But, moment to moment, we don't always notice it because we're so good at it. You just didn't know you were doing it maybe this whole time. You thought that some things were just luck or talent or circumstances, but it's not. If anything was random, the entire thing wouldn't make sense. So it's not random. It's all beliefs. It's all programming. It's all you creating your reality based on what you assume to be true. So now that you see the proof, now that you understand you've been creating your reality this entire time, what does that mean? Well, it means you're not a victim. You're not at the mercy of the world. You're not subject to random chance or bad luck. It means you have power, real power, the power to change your beliefs and therefore change your experience. It means the patterns can change. I don't care how long a pattern has been there. It can change. The struggles can end. The limitations can dissolve. All limitations are really carried by you. You're doing that. And you do not have to keep doing that. You are actually free to drop the self-imposed limitations at literally any time. And I do mean any time. Not by changing the outer world, by changing the inner world. Not by fixing circumstances, but by changing the beliefs, creating those circumstances and limitations. This is what Neville meant when he said, there is no one to change but self. You don't need other people to change, actually. You don't. You don't need circumstances to shift. You don't. You don't need luck to find you. You create luck. Go watch my recent video about that. I'll put a card up here. You just need to change your beliefs, your programming, your assumptions about yourself and what's possible for you. And when you change those, the mirror will continue to reflect you. It's not going to start reflecting you. It's always been reflecting you. But when you change your beliefs, it's going to reflect that change. Not eventually, not if you're lucky. It will, it must. That's the law. That's what it's already doing. Your outer world has no choice but to conform to your inner world. Again, that's what it's already doing. That's how this reality works. And as I've been explaining in this video, that's what it's already doing and has always been doing. So if you're experiencing something you don't want, you now know why. There's a belief creating it. Find the belief, change the belief, and the experience changes. If you're not experiencing something you do want, you now know why. There's a belief blocking it. Find the belief, change the belief, and what you want flows in effortlessly. Here's what to do with this proof. Step 1. Look at your patterns. What keeps repeating in your life? What feels stuck? What frustrates you over and over? Those patterns are showing you your programming. They're the mirror reflecting your beliefs back to you. Step 2. Identify the belief. Ask yourself, what would I have to believe about myself or the world for this pattern to make sense? If you keep getting rejected, maybe you believe I'm not good enough to be chosen. If you keep struggling financially, maybe you believe money is hard for me to keep. If you keep feeling overlooked, maybe you believe my value isn't seen. The pattern reveals the belief. That's the whole design of this reality, to show you more of you, parts of you that you can't see easily. So they get put on display in your reality for you to see. You just have to know what's going on and not fall into the victim mindset that you're a victim of what is being shown. No, you are the powerful creator of what's being shown. Step 3, change the belief. This is the real work. You can't just affirm over the old belief. You have to actually change it at the level of your subconscious. This means processing where it came from, releasing the emotions attached to it, and consciously choosing a new belief in the moment, in the now moment. This is why I'm saying you can't just affirm over it. There's a whole video that needs to be done about this. So if you want a whole video about why you can't just affirm over it, leave me a comment down below and I will make that video, because I think I probably already have one, but I'll make a new one. Here's some examples. I'm not good enough becomes I am inherently worthy and chosen. Money is hard to keep becomes money flows to me and stays with me easily. My value isn't seen becomes my value is recognized and appreciated. You integrate the new belief in real time when the old belief comes up, and you change the old belief when it shows up to the new belief. This has to happen in real time in order for you to make it true at the level of the subconscious. Step 4, watch the mirror change. And this is where the magic happens. Once you've genuinely changed the belief, the mirror is going to show you the new reflection. Notice and take responsibility for things starting to change in your outer reality. As you do this work, you will see things starting to change very quickly. My clients see things change in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks once they're doing this work. So, the more you notice what changes, the more you empower yourself to keep going and changing on even deeper and deeper levels. The patterns break, the struggles end. What was hard becomes easy. Not because you forced the outer world to change. No, not any of that. It's because you changed and then the mirror reflected that change. So, there's your proof. The patterns in your life are evidence that you've been creating your reality based on your innermost beliefs. The things that work easily are evidence that when your beliefs are aligned, creation is effortless. The mirror of your outer world is evidence that everything starts within. You're not a victim of your reality. You are the powerful creator of your reality. And now that you see the proof, now that you know you've been doing this unconsciously, you can absolutely do it consciously. You can identify the beliefs creating what you don't want. Change those beliefs and watch your reality shift to match. That's the power you have. That's what it means to be a conscious creator and to consciously create your reality. Now, a lot of people might see this proof and still believe they're powerless, still blame circumstances, still think the world is just happening to them. But if you're watching this, you are absolutely, most definitely not most people. You see it now and you can't unsee it. You create your reality. The proof is already in your own life. And now you get to choose what you create next. If you want my help changing the beliefs and programming, creating your unwanted patterns in your life, if you're ready to take back the control that is your birthright, if you're ready to consciously create the reality you actually want to experience, there's a link down in the description below. You can find out more about working with me, more about my coaching program. If you still have questions about the program or about working with me, there's also a link in the pinned comment where you can book a free consultation. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.